Okay, welcome back to Streamline Entertainment. I am with Ali, and thank you very much for talking to me this evening, Ali, and obviously your support in the Jay Slater case. There's something, obviously, which people may know about anyway, or may not know about, is the GoFund, Ali, which has been closed. Was that today or was it yesterday?
I believe it's today. I had a flash come up on my screen that it was closed today.
Oh my word. My word. And what do you think's behind that? Do you think the family may have closed it down and thought it's probably a bit too much to deal with still bits and bobs to be tied up in this case?
Well, I used to work with the lottery, although it's not directly with Lotto. The GoFundMe is kind of under some of their jurisdictions, their procedures and that. Anyway, I can find that out probably tomorrow. But there's only one of three reasons they've closed it. They've taken the money all out and it's all okay.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happened, but there you go. I don't know. The second thing is they've closed it, the police have closed it for a reason. And three, what was the third thing? It's just they've just frozen it.
That's odd. Do you know do you know what? It's funny. I got a message last week to ask me what I think of it, and we just had a back and forth conversation messaging with somebody, a private message, and they said that it wouldn't surprise me whether the GoFund will be investigated to think whether it's legit or not.
Yeah, I expect it would be because anything that involves public money. And all right, it's the public's money. They give of their free will, which is fine. And it's not the most important thing in this case anyway. I think it's probably comes to the bottom of the case. But it's always an indicator if there is something wrong that somebody starts to dig a bit. And I think somebody has started to dig a bit more.
I agree. I mean, people question it. It's obviously myself and you. We never really got involved in it because I always thought that Debbie would use that money to maybe get a private investigator, or it maybe even donated to other missing people. But like I said, for me, to be honest with me, it's not really anyone's business as long as as that money's spent legitimately. This is what I think about it. What's your view, Ali, of that?
Well, there is three different scenarios as I've outlined. Now, if it was lotto money, it usually involves courses or some kind of refurbishment of historical buildings or access, health and safety, etc. That is completely different. I used to help monitor those cases, especially for things like village halls and old historic churches and that.
Yeah.
For accessibility and also for preserving the fabric of the building. And that has got to have three different quotes on every job that's done on it, and they have to be independent and all checked out. And when you go to do the monitoring and also what I call the wash-up meeting, in other words, you've got to report back on what has happened to that money, it's quite intense, and there's lots of checking the amounts, who it's gone to, is it gone to a limited company, blah, blah, blah. So there is a lot of scrutiny with public money that is raised through the lotto and from, other things that the lotto pays for, like our Olympians and that, they pay for them as well. And without lotto money, I don't think half of the people that compete in the Olympics would be able to train and carry on. So it's really good money that's raised every week, but that is a lot of money, and it's raised in order to support different events and causes and everything else.
Ali, in the early days, it was said that Lucy set up the first GoFundMe, or was it Rachel Hargreaves?
It was Rachel Hargreaves that set up with a target of 10,000.
That's right. Yeah, that is right.
And then that was quickly taken over by Lucy for 30,000. And the money started rolling in on both of them, really. Their targets were more than met. But the thing that always struck me, and the form for GoFundMe is similar to what other lotto forms are, except that it's not quite as regulated,
Okay.
is that they didn't say really what it was for. You know, they gave a general, well, this is to, you know, to find Jay, or this is to, but normally somebody like in the family of the Jack O'Sullivan case, which has done a fantastic job in telling people what is happening, is that you would say, well, we need 5,000 for the search, we need 2,000 to get a special investigator in on it, we need this for food and lodgings for certain people and flights and that. So it break it all down, whereas there was none of that really. It was just a general thing, and that was the first red flag for me, is that, well, really, yes, I understand what they've got to do, but really what specifically are you paying for? Because it didn't really kind of add up. And, you know, all right, person that's giving a 10 or a 5 or whatever is probably not too bothered anyway. And it isn't the main criteria. The main criteria was finding Jay, and was he safe? You know,
The thing, what I obviously couldn't understand with it is why it went on for so long, especially obviously that, you know, his body's been brought back, he's been buried, and I could understand it maybe, you know, maybe tapering off around 7-10 days into it, and then the family say it's closed. But it's strange that it was still open, and it went up to about 80,000.
Well, yeah, and the few other things were normally when you take out travel insurance, and I'm sure Jay had travel insurance on the plane, for instance.
Yeah.
Repatriation is normally included in that insurance. Not always. So you need to check your insurances, but normally 9 times out of 10 it is. And then on top of that is what else is covered is accommodation, and that should you need to get somebody to, you know, to pick up the pieces if somebody, say, had an accident abroad or is in hospital. There's usually some of the insurance covers that. So I could never kind of think, well, why isn't somebody coming out and saying, well, this is what we're doing with the money, or we had an odd update, but nothing specific, and that is unusual, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Basically, I don't think it's been world news, to be honest with you, Ali, that the GoFundMe has been stopped at the end of the day. It's just probably on their website, and a lot of people hadn't really seen it because a lot of people have stopped really talking about it now, and it's lost interest because we knew it was coming towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, I only heard through them directly, so, you know, I mean, I was surprised, but then I wasn't surprised and thought, well, at least, you know, we have got an ending, so to speak. But it's never been my main concern anyway. The main concern is to look for a lad of 19 that's gone missing.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to move on to some names which were mentioned due to, obviously, messages and phone calls over the last few days, Ali. And a name that I didn't hear before was Kieran McNulty.
Yes, yeah. Kieran McNulty. Don't know much about him at the moment.
Okay.
He was there in Tenerife. As I say, I don't know much about him. That name has been run past me, and he's on my list to look at.
Yeah, was that a friend of Jay's or someone from his area, or we don't know that yet? Or
I don't know.
It's just going to be a friend of a friend. Obviously, James Curry, the second one.
That's his real best friend.
Yeah, that was also mentioned to me as well. About him, to be honest, that he was really good friends. But I believe
he flew over with some of the other friends to help look for Jay. But I never saw him on camera or anything, but that doesn't matter, you know.
No,
He's
there was
doing a good job.
actually
Fine.
someone did send a photo of him, because I didn't really. No one else mentioned him, or like I said, he did seem like the photo I saw. He did seem like a good lad, and I didn't put his picture up, but actually someone did send me a photo of him in the club. And mentioned that was Jay's actual best friend, and they go back a while.
Yeah, I mean, from school days, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. We'll move on to another name, Alea Buxbury.
Alea Duxbury.
Yes.
She is a friend of Jay's, or an acquaintance of Jay's.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know much about her yet. These are names that we've only recently had.
Yeah.
So there is a lot more to look on them.
Yeah, I got you. At the end of that, and they could have been just friends of friends who were in the area. But do you know what? There were so many people from Jay's area and friends of friends. There's probably about 50 or 60 of them who probably knew each other, Ali. And I'm just surprised no one's actually come out to say anything about that night, or even, I don't know. It's just really strange that everyone's got state-of-the-art phones these days, and nobody saw nothing. And all these people who probably knew Jay, someone's got to feel guilty and say something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's a bit like the NRG festival. We know now that the days were previous to what we thought, and they run into each other. So it's really difficult to kind of cut off and say, well, that happened on that day, when the whole program was shifted, and, you know, nothing seemed to be any sense. So we now know that the NRG, that Papagayo was open on the Saturday night and was closed early. But it wasn't an NRG event.
No, this was.
We weren't told that, and that's taken a bit of digging to get that out. And it's a bit like the previous things when we were told. Well,
do you know the conversation we had about you talking to the director? Director, wasn't it? The director.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's his business. It's going to be very vague about everything.
Well, yes. I mean, you know, they had closure for 3 or 4 months, and then spent all that money in order to bring everything up to standard and improve it. They don't want the first months of being open to have to close it again so quickly because of any problem, like somebody being really ill or somebody having drugs there, because that would, you know, kill their trade, wouldn't it?
Because a lot of people were saying to me that where they left the pool party, Papagayo's is on the way, and Xanadu's is a little bit further on, and that they would need to get on a shuttle bus to go to Xanadu's. This is what I heard. So this is someone said, Marv, what if they went into, after the, obviously, you know, having a swim and a good time, they popped into Papagayo's. They could have gone there for something to eat and decided to stay and start dancing, then wanted to go on to Xanadu's. Because it closed, because obviously Jay collapsed in there, it all went P-tong from there.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that there's KFC there, there's McDonald's, there's all the usual fast food places as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, they could have just popped in there for a bag of chips or, you know, a pizza, being in Spain, or paella or something.
Yeah.
And who's to know? I mean, you know, and you know, if you've gone out with a group of friends yourself, when I think back all those years ago, you used to start with maybe 8 or 9 friends, then gradually during the night, 2 or 3 would go somewhere, and you wouldn't see them again, or somebody you knew used to join you, you know?
Ali, I was in Blackpool once, and I think there was 20 of us, And I was always the one that used to sort of keep an eye on our mates. And like I said, when we were young, we used to go out the town. I used out of town, and I used to do all the driving and make sure everyone got back safe. And you're right. At the end of the day, after 3 pubs, it goes down to 17. I think after like pub 15 or 16, there was about 3, 4 of us left. Do you know what I mean? And
I
you know,
know.
I'm not the biggest of drinker at the end of that. The funny thing is, you know, my legs go, but my mind stays.
Never let your legs go. That's the only thing you can't let go is
Yeah.
your legs.
Well, I'm like Bambi on ice.
Well, I've had snow here today, so I haven't been anywhere today,
Yeah.
thank goodness, because I had a day doing things yesterday, and I was pleased to get home, to tell you the truth. So, yeah, I mean, I've also found a really strange saying online today, which says Pedlo and visitor
Yeah.
to Africa from Digger.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I can't make head or tail of that. I'm going to look at that later.
Yeah. Okay.
Mind
Ali.
you, I have a job to read my own writing sometimes, I must admit.
Yeah. Another name come up was Sol Wilkes.
Don't know anything about him either.
Yeah.
As I say, these names I have got to do a bit of research on.
I saw Vicky Pandora Pate.
Yes, Vicky Pandora Pate.
Sounds like someone famous.
It does. I think she's from the southeast, actually, and she's an older woman. And I believe she's Jay's godmother,
Oh, right.
but I might be wrong on that. As I say, I haven't these new names I'm just looking at, and I've done quite a lot today.
Yeah.
But
God, you know, isn't it terrible? Like I said, obviously all these people, old and young, went on this holiday to have a fantastic holiday and enjoy the NRG festival. And, you know, something's really went wrong with Jay. I always thought, Ali, that he never ever deserved to die. Whatever happened to him, and it was just a massive cover-up. But there's just so many people being
there is
exposed
a lot of people.
lately. Do you know what I mean? And with so many people involved, it can lead to a lot of confusion amongst content creators because there's just so much information now.
Yeah. Well, the black traffic, you see, I didn't know anything about them until about 6 weeks ago.
Well,
Didn't even realise they were there.
yeah, 1111 True Crime brought them up, and she made some brilliant, you know, points on discussing them, which I think is really, really important to this case.
Yeah, I mean, I've got, 5 questions that I've kind of highlighted today. Have you had those from me?
No, far away.
Right, number 1. I think these are quite good questions that anybody out there can help us with, please.
Sure.
Because we're all, you know, this is a community that we all want some kind of answers to how Jay died. And we're not going to get it if we start backstabbing each other and one thing and another just to get clicks or something. I mean, clicks, I can give them clickers that I use for the dog. That would probably be more useful anyway. Number 1.
Yeah.
Why did Brad not tell his mother, Rachel Hargreaves, that Jay was missing?
Yeah.
That's number 1.
Yeah, correct. But what day we talking about?
We're talking about the day that she was with Debbie in Tenerife giving an interview.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Number 2, whoever sent the text to Debbie must have known her number.
100%. So it's definitely someone who's technically close to the family and friends with Jay.
Exactly. Number 3, Lucy said she had the procedure of reporting somebody that's missing persons as she had to do it before. So why did she go to the police and missing persons place and phone the embassy up the same day as he allegedly went missing if she knew she had to wait 48 hours.
Yeah, I just think it was panic. And I just think someone had told her, possibly Ayup, should get this information out there as soon as possible, because it'll look like that you're trying to do something about it, and that people will think, oh, she's a sweet little girl, well, sweet young woman, and she's told the whole world, and we then give her a round of applause.
Number 4, Brandon Hodgson. Ayup has said several times, we'll get Brandon on Telegram.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember rightly, he said in front of Rocky, we'll get Brandon here, we'll talk to him on Telegram. Not doing him on WhatsApp, we'll get him on Telegram. Well, we know what Telegram is used for. So, come on, Ayup, what is your relationship with Brandon?
The problem I've got with that is anybody heard him talk.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, as anybody heard him talk, and he was, I think, a lot of, I mean, there were private messages going around early that it was because of Brandon and a deal going wrong. This is why he dropped Jay in it, and it was due to business that was happening back at home, which led into Tenerife, which is highly possible. I do think a high percentage of this is about Ruggs. I really, really do.
Oh, I think you're absolutely right, and Ruggs gangs as well.
Yes.
I think there's cartels involved. The next question, which is the final one today, is Brandon, can you tell me why you left a review on Fantasia Car Hire thanking them for the use of their car over 2 days to go to Loro Park?
Loro Park? Isn't that the zoo park in Tenerife?
I believe it is. I've never been there, but I would just like to know why he took that trip.
Ali, did we get any dates on that?
Yeah, it was around the 3 weeks that Jay, the whole thing about...
Oh, because Brandon was out there earlier.
I think he lives out there, doesn't he?
That's what I've heard, but I've heard that he's been out with Lucy. In a private message I got, someone said that he's been out there with Lucy before on a few occasions, and I think people have covered this as well, some other YouTubers.
Okay, well, he thanked the car hire people for, and I've seen the review, for changing the car because the car wasn't suitable. So I'd just like to know a bit more about that. Maybe somebody can help us out there.
So that's odd. So he's taken a car and then bought it back and said it wasn't suitable.
Apparently, it wasn't big enough, and the car seat had to be replaced.
Wow. So technically, then, if he can hire a car, he must have a driving license to drive over there.
Well, I presume so. He's 19, 20,
yeah.
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, wow.
I'd just like to know why he hired a car to go to Loro Park.
Yeah, that is...
Maybe he was going to have a look at the animals, who knows?
Yeah. And thoughtful thinking.
Hey?
Thoughtful thinking.
Yes. Okay, I think... Is there anything else tonight? There's quite a lot, but
we'll go through
tomorrow.
We'll go through that again. But like I said, do you know that he left a review, Ali, at the end of the day? Do you think that was the same place Ayup hired his car from as well?
It is the same place.
Wow.
It is the same place because they have 64 cars and I've identified them all.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether we can get information of when, basically, a specific day of when those cars were hired.
Well, I can do that because I know who owns the place. I know who owns the car hire.
Right, that's absolutely brilliant. Okay, Ali, what we'll do, I think that we're about maybe 25, 26 minutes in. We'll leave it there, and people, any more information, we'll put it out there as well. But there's loads more to come, but we have to go through it. Okay, so thank you very
One
much.
more thing before
Yep.
I go.
Yep.
Devil's breath. Does do we know if that was used in Papagayo? We don't, do we?
That's like a drug, isn't it? Which knocks people out or something, or makes them unconscious, or
Well,
forgets.
it looks like sand, and we do know that somebody threw something. Was it that? I don't know. But
The thing is,
maybe
though, if that was
somebody
in,
was there can tell us.
yeah, the only thing about that, Ali, if it was in a club, and it was thrown from a height, that would also sort of affect other people as well.
Well, it would do, I
Maybe,
would have thought.
maybe that was one of the reasons why they actually closed the club, because people were affected.
We weren't there. Who knows? Who
Yeah,
knows? We
yeah.
weren't there. As I say to people, this is, just as best as we can do, really.
Yeah, we're
And
trying.
we do
We're
need some
trying.
help. So if anybody can come back to us without slating us, please, and just,
Break
give
things
us some
down.
information.
Yeah.
Exactly. That would be most useful, and it would take this case on a bit further.
Yeah, so any questions for me and Ali, just put it into the chat, a message, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah, and I'm not your roving reporter in Tenerife either.
No, she's not a freelance reporter from Tenerife.
I would like to go and get some sun, but I'm surrounded with snow at the moment. Okay.
Yeah.
Take care, everybody. Look after each other.
Thank you very much, Ali, and we'll talk to you soon, people. Much appreciated.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Look out.